Welcome to lesson number 4 in Made to Create. I call this lesson the It's Coming All Together lesson. It's where you're beginning to take what you're experiencing at the very most elementary level and putting it into a playful composition. So we will be making geometric shapes, and then you will be using what you know up to this point in any way that you choose to fill those geometric shapes. So let's start with the geometric shapes. You're going to need, for this lesson, you're going to need a ruler and everything else you've had so far, plus a Sharpie for the very end. So I'm going to recommend, if you don't have that, pause and go get it. Okay, I love doing this. I love making geometric shapes using a ruler. So what I'm going to do here is try to make shapes that are random but interesting and connected to each other. I mean, literally, I'm going to make lines like this. I'm thinking a lot about triangles because I love triangles. And I didn't hold my ruler exactly straight there, so I'll do it again. I'm going to move up to that. Now I'm going to divide this triangle. Okay. I'm going to have some of my geometric shapes, and this time I'm going to make a parallelogram that's a little bit skewed. Now, there are no mistakes, so check it out. I just overdid that, so I'm going to go from that line that would be normally a, uh-oh, did I make a mistake? Nope. In Made to Create, every mistake is an opportunity for a new experience. So I've got those shapes. I want you to take your shapes, have it touch at least the edges of your paper 4 times. 1, 2, pretty close, 3, that could be 3, and yes, I'm going to go on and add a circle because I love circles. You may put geometric shapes any way you want on this paper. And I would say you want at least 10 different shapes, so count that up. You may want even more. Here's what we're going to be doing with this. We're going to be making geometric shapes and using our watercolor techniques to fill each individual shape as if it is a separate entity unto itself. So you can see here, wet into wet, wet into wet, wet on wet paper, stippling, wet over dry, wet into wet. Okay, I've got another one. This person, a person gave me this, they were working on their 3rd one. Kind of a shading technique of putting in a darker red and then using water before it dries and making it shading. Shading again. I'm going to say to you, for this piece, would you please show at least your experience now of 4 painting techniques, and then do the rest of the shapes any way you want to. So here, just for me, just to get you going here, I love stippling. So I'm going to start stippling, and I'm going to be thinking about the shape. I'm going to be responding to the shape. So I'm going to fan this out. They're not all going to go, I'm just having fun playing, guys, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to alter this as if it's an opening fan, so you can see I'm leaning into a different diagonal. I'm just having fun with stippling and my geometric shape here. Now, one thing that is so interesting with color and painting is that sometimes if you limit your color palette to like 3 or 4 colors, you will have a very, very provocative piece. It'll draw people in. There's something about sticking with a similar color palette. So I might decide to limit this to purple, blue, and red. You don't have to do that. You may say, I want to try all the colors, do it. Once again, don't use black. That'd be the only thing I would say, is not to use the black if you happen to have bought cake watercolor. Okay, now I'm going to try, here we are again, a new shape. I'm not going to paint next to this shape because I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to try shading with purple. That isn't dark enough for me. Let me get a darker purple. I'm going to add a little more purple. Yeah, there it is. So this is definitely more of an opaque purple. Now this is still helping me practice staying in the lines, taking my brush and going, you know what I've learned? There it is. That is actually masking fluid that got stuck in my brush. Okay, gotta check that out. Now I'm not going to add any more paint. From this point on for shading, I'm going to add water. I just dipped my brush in water. You can see it's a little bit lighter than what's in the very most corner. This is lighter than this area. Dipping my brush in the water one more time, pulling some paint over. Look at that, it's almost pale as a, it's almost a lavender, a pale wisp of lavender, moving into a dark shadow of purple. So for that shape, I may paint more over it. I'm going to stay with that, let that dry. And what I'm going to now challenge you to do is to fill your geometric shapes. Each shape, pull up your painting techniques that you've done, put them right in front of you, all of them, including your circles, and let them inspire you for what you will play and thematically do with each shape. Now I'll tell you what, some people have ended up with pieces that look like modern art. So that's a beautiful thing, is sometimes when you're just practicing and you're totally letting go, you come up with some great stuff. After I finish this whole piece, I will outline it in Sharpie. It can make your painting look really great, or you may decide, I don't want to outline it in Sharpie. I can't find the finished piece that was outlined in Sharpie, but that's okay. I'll maybe show you that on the next lesson. I'll show you this piece. So here we go. See you in the next lesson.